morning. Let's bring in our good friend, Akron Mayor Dan Horrigan, to the show here on 93.5, 1590 WAKR. And Mayor, I got to tell you, I was doing a lot of running around yesterday, going out to Kent and getting my son and heading down into the valley. And I have to tell you, I took a wrong way turn in the central interchange since they've opened up some ramps. I started heading up 8 when I wanted to go west, but it's coming together. At least we're starting to see more and more ramps opening up at that central interchange. What do you know there that you've been told from ODOT as where we are now and what's still yet to come in 2023?
Well, good morning, Ray. Thanks for having me on. And you're right. Obviously, it's as you're going through there, sometimes speed is always a factor. And so if you're slowing down and being able to see the right signage to be able to go the right way, we're still on schedule. Just about a month ago, they kicked off doing the Route 8 bridge. And so you see a significant amount of work not only around the central interchange, but also a little bit north on Route 8 to replace that bridge, too. And I've talked about this for a number of years, is that, ODOT is spending a significant amount of money in and around our central interchange and over at Main and Broadway and a lot even through 77 and Route 8 South, a significant amount of money to improve the infrastructure and the expressways just because it was long overdue. And so as you're looking at that, like I said, they're on schedule, but we're going into that, kind of the season where, if we're able to get some work done or not just because of the weather. So you may see some things slow down a little bit with the number of people out there, but obviously they'll stay on schedule as best they can. Obviously across the country, you see a number of big projects going on. So when you're looking at supply chain issues, the number of workers, but they've been doing a really, really good job of keeping that open as best they can. But also it is a construction zone too. And so sometimes we do see accidents. So I would implore people to please slow down through that area. And then you won't have to make that wrong way turn like you did and be able to see the signs and keep getting through. And like I said, they're on schedule. They should be able to complete on time.
Yeah, I had to go up the Bookdale and kind of turn around and come back down on 8. But, Dan, one thing you can say that when this thing is complete, and even where we are with this project right now, you can see how that's really going to enable that traffic pattern to move nice and swift through that area with the double lanes that will be heading west coming off 8 and such. It's going to be really nice when this whole thing is completed.
We've been driving these roads this way for, probably a generation or more. It was long overdue to get those upgrades when it comes to safety. And a lot of those driving conditions are predicated around safety and the number of cars, and so we've seen increases in that part. But like I said, it's still a pretty active construction zone, so I'd implore people to please, drive the speed limit. They're there for a reason. That's why they say speed limit. And I know it goes a little bit slower, and you have to have a little bit more patience. And when we do see an accident, traffic does back up a little bit. But having a little bit of patience going through that area and all of those construction zones certainly keeps those workers safe and then the project moving on time.
No doubt about it. Akron Mayor Dan Horrigan with us at WAKR. Dan, you and I in the last few weeks, we've talked about what we've seen from North Hill to Kenmore to Highland Square and really the development in those areas moving forward. One thing that you and I have also talked a lot about in the last, 8 years, and that's taking care of the blighted neighborhoods in the city of Akron. And we've made significant steps in that area, big steps, as a matter of fact. And I thought maybe you can talk about the city of Akron through your leadership as mayor of looking into those neighborhoods to not only economic development, but also when you're talking about uplifting them with the housing as well.
That's been a key focus of mine, obviously, over the last 8 years in trying to, and this goes back probably about 10, 12 years, even to, the crash around 07, 08, 09 around real estate. And the city of Akron became, unfortunately, property owners to a lot of blighted homes and properties. And so there has been a significant effort through that time period and even ensuing to make sure that, we cleaned up a lot of these neighborhoods. And there's still a significant number of homes, to be able to either take down or repair, which was one of the impetuses around, the ARPA home repair program, to be able to keep people in their home by doing some minor home repair, up to and including about $25,000. And a home is where, and I say home instead of house because there's a big difference, and I think housing makes a significant difference in people's lives. And so finding those opportunities, whether it's new, whether it's rehabbed, whether they're apartments, a lot of those things, we've had a strong focus on that just because it's needed. I mean, we weren't doing this in a vacuum. We did a significant number of market studies, talked to the real estate executives, talked to developers about, what is needed. And so you see a significant number of new housing projects, whether Habitat doing the 16 over on Blinn, whether it's over at Good Park, White Pond. There's a significant, and that's certainly continuing to see housing as a focus, I think, is key. And I even mentioned that in the State of the City back in February. I think housing is going to continue to be a key, not only in neighborhoods, but obviously in other areas like downtown. We've seen a number of buildings turned into apartments and condominiums. Those are the things that, people have told us, hey, this is what we want because of this. And so trying to tie all that together, housing, I think, is a very key component, not only for attraction, but also to keep people here. I've made a focus, on population growth, and it's not a benign concept. We need more people, and I would say that as a region, too, probably from, Cleveland on down. We've seen a couple of cities grow in population, like Cincinnati and Columbus, but I think Northeast Ohio is that key for Ohio, is that population growth. So continuing to be attractive, housing, I think, is going to have to absolutely be a key.
Yeah, and Mayor, you and I talk a lot about economic development. We talk about quality of life and stuff. The bottom line that you hear about when you're talking about retention or coming into areas is housing. How is the housing in city A, B, C, and D? And it's an investment for sure to take care of these blighted neighborhoods, but that's forward thinking when you're thinking about how to take care of this housing to keep the population where it is and to grow to get people to come into your city.
I think that's absolutely key. I mean, like I said, we have the space to be able to do it. This is that one time in our city that, we have a significant opportunity because of, some federal dollars that came through after the pandemic to be able to address some of those public space issues, housing issues, all of those different effects around the pandemic. And certainly it's been key not only to the city of Akron, but a number of cities across the country.
Akron Mayor Dan Horrigan with us at WAKR. Dan, let's talk about the dollars coming in for the Gorge Dam project. This is big with these dollars coming in.
Yeah, this has been a long-time project. The discussions go back even to my time on council, and I know for some others even before that. As the power plant shut down, I think in the early 90s, and this was an area where, they grew up right around the corner and walked by and have been driving through there. And I said this yesterday, too, probably unintelligently, playing in and around the dam and the water back when I was a kid. So to finally see this come down, we think, and I know there's a number of people across the community, despite our, we've talked a lot about our, our plight in the federal court with the CSO, we think this is going to have I know it's going to have a significant impact on water quality and in recreation and returning, to the biological and environmentally safe environment. Quite frankly, when the dam was built, I mean, that was the innovation, and it powered, homes, throughout the region. That's what people did. They dammed rivers, but this is our chance to take that dam down and returning those falls to its natural state. I think it's extremely exciting, and there's a number of partners, the federal EPA, state EPA, Summit County Metro Parks, Friends of the Crooked River. There's been a number of people that have worked very, very hard on this final project, and the city of Akron is significantly involved in this, in the planning side and the dredging side, all of it. We have land that we're donating. There's a significant amount of value to the entire project, and finally have convinced, the Great Lakes Initiative and the EPA that this is a top-tier project, and they announced some funding yesterday, and certainly very excited to see the last parts of the dam come down. You'll start to work right away. We started to bid some projects and get some people. It's a big project to kind of dredge and take the sediment out, put that somewhere, cap it, and then finally start to take that dam down piece by piece, and we'll start to see the falls. When you look at the number of places that are called falls around here, just like Monroe Falls, Cauga Falls, see the falls exactly where it's supposed to be, I think it's very exciting for the region and certainly for the city of Akron.
Dan, you mentioned that we'll start to see some impact on that right away. In a perfect world, do you have any idea, because as you mentioned, a major project, what the timeline would be on something like this?
I'd love to see, inside of their expected timeline. I think it's going to go faster. That's just my opinion. It's probably going to be about 3 years, roughly. You've got to take all that sediment out. It's got to be pumped all the way down to an area. They've got to cap that, and then they've got to take that dam down. And there's an engineering process to all of that, whether they take it down piece by piece and then slowly, let the water go down to its normal level, because the dam is pretty big. And when you get down to that one observation point, it's a significant dam So when you look at it, maybe 90 feet, I think, of concrete right there that they got to take out. Like I said, I think an engineer can explain it a little bit better, but they can take it out piece by piece and let that water level come down in a natural way. But I'm assuming right around 3 years from start to finish. But you'll start to see them start to work right away. I mean, that's the exciting part. In the next month or so, hopefully you'll see a lot of activity. And we have some activity, going on in and around the area with some tunnel work and some other sewer work as part of our other CSO project. So a lot of construction activity in and around, down around the river over the next 3 years.
All right, Mayor, thank you for the time. As always appreciate you putting us on the Thursday morning calendar.
Thanks, Ray. Have a great weekend.
You too. Akron Mayor Dan Horrigan. He joins us Thursdays, 7:10 live here on WAKR.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take